we are still tracking an intensifying tropical storm Bill just miles now from the Texas coast. As of the last update from the Hurricane Center, the winds with Bill have gone up from 50 to 60 miles per hour, and 2 hours ago it was just 30 miles from the coast. Right now I suspect it's only about 5 or 10 miles away. After Bill makes landfall this morning, it's headed inland. All of these computer models are taking a weakening tropical storm right overhead later on tonight. Here's the official forecast track from the Hurricane Center. By the way, that little line in the airplane, those are the NOAA hurricane hunters out there in the storm right now. By 1 p.m., it's approaching I-10 inland as a weakening tropical storm. Later on tonight, though, this is when we could run into some big trouble locally. A weakening tropical depression will be right overhead. The winds won't be a huge factor at 35 miles per hour, but the rain certainly will. And it's not going away anytime soon. Tomorrow afternoon, it'll still be just to our north, and it'll finally depart the state by Thursday morning. For the next 48 hours, we have a real and serious risk of flash flooding and river flooding. The wind risk, as I said, is lower. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But the tornado risk, that's also a factor as well. Oftentimes when you get a rotating tropical storm like this, it already has a lot of spin in the atmosphere, and as that hits land, we can see a little tornado spin up. We have not seen any yet, and we'll let you know if that low risk actually materializes. Check this out. I've never said this before. LaGrange, you are under a tropical storm warning for the possibility of winds over 39 miles per hour as the center of that storm moves our way later today. The rest of us will not get tropical storm winds, but we're going to get some flash flooding. The flash flood watch has been extended out into the hill country. It's also been extended on our watches. Now it expires Thursday afternoon, which is more than 48 hours away. Some folks, especially east of the interstate, may see up to or over a foot of flooding rain. That rain is set to begin as soon as midday today. The red is the heaviest of the rain bands. We'll see those moving through all throughout the afternoon, and your evening commute is likely to just be a mess. Do plan some extra time at your 5 and 6 o'clock commutes. After 6 p.m., this is when we could run into some trouble. The center of the storm is going to be spinning somewhere around the area, and that's going to focus heavy flooding rainfall from the time we go to bed through the overnight hours. By mid-morning tomorrow, we may see some of that rain breaking up as the storm moves northward, but we're not done with that yet. Tomorrow afternoon and evening, we have the threat of more heavy rain before the system heads on out of here on Thursday morning. We are consistently predicting flooding rain. It doesn't matter what computer model you're looking at. This one has 4 to 5 inches in many spots, including over the lakes and over the metro. The National Weather Service official forecast that has lower rain amounts in the hill country and higher out to the east. We are pretty confident of that, and it's also agreeing that some folks will see over half a foot of flooding rainfall. If you were with us back in 2010, you know this sounds awfully familiar. Tropical Storm Hermine back in September of 2010 dropped over 16 inches of flooding rain in Williamson County. We lost 3 people due to flash flooding. This is a similar situation. I'm not saying Williamson County will get 16 inches of rain, but low water crossings will flood, and it will be a very dangerous situation, especially overnight tonight when it's going to be dark, it's going to be raining hard, and you can't see the water over the road. We will stay safe as long as everybody just steers clear of those flooded low water crossings. Okay, your high temperature today hits 84 before that rain moves in this afternoon. It's going to get windy and it's going to be stormy tonight. Look at this. We could see gusts at 2 or over 35 miles per hour, even right here in Austin. The main flooding threat comes about later today through the day tomorrow. We may even see some spotty rain hanging around with us on Thursday before we dry out and heat up toward the weekend. Now, all morning long, we've been tracking Tropical Storm Bill, which is expected to make landfall, as I told you, here within the next hour. Meteorologist Mark Monstrola has been out on the coast in Port Lavaca, right in the storm's path, tracking it. Now, Mark, it looks like things are picking up a little bit out there. What are you seeing?
Well, if you've been joining us over the last hour, you have certainly been noticing how much the conditions out here have deteriorated as we about 45 minutes, 60 minutes ago had blue skies in some patches overhead. That is now a distant memory and long gone as the effects of Bill, as it bears down on the Texas coastline, certainly beginning to be felt here in Port Lavaca. In fact, the center of circulation is expected to make landfall in just a little bit farther time from now, about an hour and a half to 2 hours or so, just to our east in Matagorda Bay out there. And the winds are really now starting to pick up. The rain's really starting to whip in as well. We talked to some police officers here in Port Lavaca, and they have said that they are making preparations now to possibly close some roads later on today, none have which been closed just yet. And no trees down or power lines down as of this moment, but they're going to keep us updated on that as we go through the morning and early afternoon. Meanwhile, in Galveston, we've seen some incredible footage there. They've seen flooded roadways and a lot of debris washed up on their roads out there along the Houston area along the coastline. Now, it's amazing. This water is extremely warm, 83, maybe 84 degrees here, and that's helping fuel Bill as it comes ashore. It's so much fuel for this thing to work off of. All of that evaporation goes right into the skies and helps amplify the storm. As David mentioned, we're seeing winds now up to 60 miles per hour, and again, you can kind of see my jacket blowing. We're now starting to feel some of those winds come in here, and we're looking at the chance for Bill to stay as strong as a tropical storm all the way through Fayette County, believe it or not. 80 million people, we mentioned this earlier on, could be affected by flash flood watches, warnings, and advisories from central to southeast Texas. And we're going to keep you advised all morning long with the situation here along the Texas coast as things start to fall apart here early this morning. We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio.